Crypto in just the next 10 days is going to explode like you have never seen before, and these two charts prove it. You see, at the start of a bullish phase for crypto, we always see the Bitcoin price expanding rapidly. And if you check the charts, from those April lows, Bitcoin is up over $30,000. Following a Bitcoin rally, Ethereum is always next. And right now, while the Ethereum price is sitting fairly quiet, these two charts are showing us that the on-chain strength for Ethereum is growing stronger by the day, signaling that a breakout is just around the corner. As soon as Ethereum breaks, the entire altcoin market will explode aggressively. But particular altcoins will massively outperform during this early phase, and we're already starting to see some of those emerging right now. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what we can expect to happen over the next 7 to 10 days and how to identify which altcoins will see some of the most aggressive growth during the very early stages of that altcoin breakout. If that sounds good, hit the like button. Let's get into today's video. Now, as you can see, the House of Crypto is back on the road and we're ready for the next phase of the bull market to begin. So how am I so confident that things are about to get exciting? Well, before we go and check out those two charts that I think you're going to really want to see, let's quickly see what's going on with Bitcoin because it's incredibly exciting right now. Despite it being Sunday and being low volumes in the market and people being still a little scared as to whether or not the bull market is over, this should have you in no doubt where we're headed next. You see, Bitcoin right now has been very closely mirroring the M2 money supply. You know that, right? As you can see, for the last 10 days, Bitcoin's been going basically sideways in this range, as the M2 has been going sideways in this range. But as you can see, after the past few weeks, every single time we've seen a massive expansion in the price like this, these have all been closely linked to these big up phases in the M2. And right now we're expecting to see that next big up phase in M2 starting on Tuesday. So somewhere around Tuesday, obviously not specific to the day, but sometime towards the end of this week, we're going to expect the M2 to push up to levels that it was at when the Bitcoin bull market topped out in December. And this was when the whole bull market topped out. Yes, we had that kind of fake out Trump pump that happened here, but the wider total market cap for crypto hit highs here. And this is what we're expecting to see sometime in the next 10 or so days. So while everyone's out there still fearful and worried, I'm not concerned at all because things are looking incredibly bullish for crypto. But I get it. You're like, yeah, but Bitcoin keeps rallying and I'm not holding any Bitcoin. I'm just holding altcoins. Why is nothing happening? Well, because there's a kind of path to the way things work. We know already, because you're subscribed to the House of Crypto, that crypto represents a phase of the risk curve. Okay, when the markets, global markets, are really like risk adverse and there's not really very good conditions for betting on stock markets, etc., everyone buys into bonds and all these incredibly low risk assets. Right now, those are starting to decline. The dollar's dropping, the bond market's starting to decrease as well. And then people start to move into stocks. We've seen the stock market rally. Then they move into crypto. We see Bitcoin starting to rally. Then they move down the curve of altcoins to the smaller cap altcoins, into the NFTs and all that crazy end of the market that we will see towards the end of this year. And right now we're seeing the very transition take place from the lowest risk crypto asset, which is Bitcoin, towards kind of the slightly higher risk assets as we go down the path. So there is a chance that we see another leg up for Bitcoin this week before we see the wider altcoin market exploding, but we are starting to see some strength in the altcoins. And I think it's all because of what we're seeing on these charts for Ethereum. So what are they? Well, the first one I want you to consider is that Ethereum, despite what you've heard and despite what people say about it, is still holding huge amounts of locked up stored value on chain. Right now, you can see that the accumulation levels are insane. All-time high accumulation for whales. Whales tend to front run little Timmy and the rest. So when the whales and everyone are accumulating, they tend to do it before the price is moving much. They tend to do it quietly behind the scenes before everyone's hyped up and excited. This is really when we want to start entering the markets, or at least be into the markets before this is happening. Why? Because once you start to get proof that the altcoin season is on, like when everything starts to explode like crazy, you've already missed it. Around the time that people are going to be entering back into these markets because they're like, wow, this pump is real, I'm going to be starting to take profits ready for the next pullback. And that's what we want to do. We want to position before the move. If you wait for the move, you're too late. So massive accumulation going on Ethereum right now. We can see that this always happens before significant rallies in the ETH price. We saw it happening in the last bull market before major leg ups. And right now, this has me incredibly bullish for ETH. If that wasn't enough, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Ethereum has been on this horrible looking downtrend versus Bitcoin over the past 3 years. And as you can see from this very little tip It's just broken out. And this indicates something very significant. It indicates that people are shifting from that lower risk mindset of Bitcoin hodlers towards becoming Ethereum hodlers, and then we're starting to move down the curve. You see how this is starting to work out. And as you can see on the daily chart, this move of Ethereum versus Bitcoin is incredibly significant. And yes, it has had a little bit of a pause for a few days as Bitcoin's been going sideways, but eventually this is what's going to happen. Bitcoin will have a bit of a rally. Eventually, maybe Bitcoin goes sideways for a bit, and then you're going to see Ethereum pumping 10, 20, 30% in a single day, while Bitcoin goes up 1 or 2%. This happened previously multiple times in bull markets before this, okay? So while you might be newer to crypto and you might have joined the crypto markets after 2022, you probably have never seen this happen before, but trust me, this is exactly playing out how it did before. It's just a little bit delayed this time because of Trump's tariffs that came in earlier this year and pushed the whole thing back a bit. And if we jump out to a weekly chart, we can see the Ethereum versus Bitcoin value that it was at down here back on the 6th of January 2020 basically led to a crazy charge. This is what the ultimate bull market looked like for Ethereum versus Bitcoin when that altcoin season started to go crazy. By which point you can expect to see Bitcoin steadily climbing while the altcoins around it are rallying aggressively. And this is not just Ethereum. We're starting to see a lot of the larger cap altcoins also showing strength here. This is XRP versus Bitcoin. Look, it's holding very closely into this level of strength here. Every time it's dipping down, it's preparing to push higher. Yes, in the last week, you can see it's dipped back down into this zone, but that's nothing to worry about. I would say that pretty much altcoins, Bitcoin, you're not really going to see it significantly lower than it is right now. You know, at best, you might be able to get a 10% pullback on some of these coins, but I really highly doubt that you're going to have much more opportunity. Cardano holding its own against Bitcoin on this level here. You can see aggressive rallies happen every time Cardano is sat in this zone versus Bitcoin. All of this together gives us confluence that all of the altcoins are building in strength versus Bitcoin. All of these major Bitcoin altcoin pairs. Sui, you can see, is a front runner and has been rallying aggressively here and is now starting to put in these higher lows. And you can see again, Sui is ready for another leg up. One of the most important charts that I think you need to see before we jump into some of the different altcoins that I think are worth paying attention to is this. This is the Bitcoin dominance plus USDT dominance plus USDC dominance. Let's just think about what that means for a moment. It means as a percentage of all the money in crypto, how much of it is held in Bitcoin and the stable coins. Lots of people are just talking about Bitcoin dominance right now, but looking at this is where we see the best opportunity because every single day right now, the USDT market cap is climbing. It's $151 billion. It's added $6 billion in just the last 3 or 4 weeks. If you go back to something around November time, it was $120 billion. We now have $31 billion more in stablecoins ready to flow into the crypto markets. This is why this time we're going to see an even bigger rally than we did at the end of last year. And it's going to go beyond that because the M2 just keeps going and going and going with a little bit of a pullback coming in the summer. If you want to know when I anticipate there being a summer pullback, which I do, then you can check out a video I made the other day called Sell the Summer or Summer Sell-Off or something like that. And that should give you an indication as to why we're going to see a dip in the summer. And then we're going to see the bull market continue into the end of this year. So what's the combined dominance doing that we need to pay attention to? Well, first things first, you can probably see this purple chart down below. And this is the relative strength index on a weekly chart. As you can see, since back in summer 2022, we have been decreasing in terms of relative strength on this chart, while the dominance has been going up and up and up. This is telling us that we have a bearish divergence. It means that while the price is increasing, the momentum is being lost. Imagine skiing down a hill, trying to ski up the other side, and as you start to slow down, eventually your momentum will stop and you will slide back down the other way. This is what this is basically showing us. And as you can see, last week when we saw an aggressive rally across the altcoins, that was because of this major dip happening here. Now what you can see is it's run into an area of support, it's bounced a bit, and will start to decline, hitting into the next area of support. And as it goes, it will see little bounces each time, and each time you're going to see a little bit of a pullback for alts, etc. If I jump across to a daily chart, then you can see that using the Fibonacci, we have simply just pulled back to the 50% zone after a very strong sell-off. Very strong sell-off, 50% pullback, then we're going to drop again. As soon as that drops, if Bitcoin's going up, Altcoins go crazy. We saw it happen just the other day. It's going to be starting to happen more and more as this gets weaker and weaker and the market wakes up to the fact that we're in a bull market. Still, while you're here and I'm here, many people haven't even woken up to the fact that Bitcoin's back above 100k. It's not on CNBC, it's not on BBC, it's not on Fox News. No one's paying attention. As soon as that hits the mainstream media, everyone's going to rush back in. They're going to be screaming, what should I be buying? We know they're going to be too late because we were already buying in the first place, and we have then an opportunity to ride things up until we hit max greed once more, which can happen very quickly. Probably max greed around 95 or so. If we're seeing a big dip in the M2 money supply around the time that we see max greed in the market, then it's probably time to think about taking some profits. And I will talk about that on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed, notification bell turned on so that you don't miss any future videos. Now then, where are we seeing strength across the market? This is a really, really important one. People keep asking me, like, which altcoins should I be holding? Is this an altcoin that I should be holding compared to this one? People are sending me DMs all over the show, etc. But it's been something I've been talking about a lot over on my Twitter page, which is Peter_THOC, blue check mark. Go and give me a follow over there so that you can understand exactly what's going on in the markets all the time. You would have been able to catch those lows around April the 10th, where we were basically talking about after April the 7th, saying that the market was just going to continue to rally because of the M2. We're also talking about various different charts, different coins to be holding, different ways to benefit from being in the crypto markets. And over there, I've been talking a lot about how altcoins are different from one another. Now, obviously, you have meme coins, and meme coins seem to be doing okay at the moment, but they don't really fit into the kind of utility model, which I know many of you are interested in. So, what is a utility altcoin? It does something, right? It's supposed to do something. And if it's supposed to do something, it's supposed to be a company that's generating revenue, generating real fees, generating real users. Many crypto projects out there talk about how they're going to generate real users into the future, which makes them a speculative asset. However, there are other cryptos out there that are not speculative assets because they're already doing something, they're already generating significant revenue. I talked about this multiple times over the last few weeks, saying that Aether was massively undervalued because it had around $120 million of annual revenue, but its market cap was $420 million total, which means every 4 years its revenue pays for its market cap, which means when the market's a little bit quiet, etc., they start to buy back into tokens they can afford for marketing, they pump their own price effectively, and they can do that because they can afford to do that, and they will continue to do this into the bull market, which is why Aether over the past couple of weeks has rallied much stronger than many other altcoins out there. Now, this is the Aether dashboard. Obviously it shows you all the data and details. Any good quality project out there will want to show you their data, show you the transactions, show you what's going on their particular platform, show you the number of users, etc. Many people are asking, like, why can't I find Aether on DeFi Llama? Why can't I find whatever? Guys, DeFi Llama is a platform for understanding more about DeFi products, decentralized finance. Aether is a deepin project. Okay, so you won't find any information about it there, but it will be on the website. If you want to find out about layer 1 blockchains and how they're performing, use DeFi Llama. If you want to understand more about DeFi products, use DeFi Llama. But these ones are going to be over on the website. Now, I've been looking more and more into deepin category because I think this is where there's a lot of strength in terms of real revenue, real companies. And there's another one that I've started to see picking up that is of interest to me, and that's Grass, trusted by over 3 million users. Grass right now has 3 million users out there with nodes scraping the internet for data. This data is very valuable. It's the key piece that AI is missing, and they go and sell this data and they make huge revenues doing it. Now, why I'm so excited about Grass right now is while the kind of the bullish stuff in the background is building, is that actually this chart is perfect. We can see that we've had strength when it first launched back in November. As the entire crypto market declined, it declined, but it actually performed very strongly compared to the wider crypto market. And right now it's threatening to break out from this particular point here. I do believe that once ETH gets sent higher in the next 10 days to 2 weeks or whenever it's going to be exactly, I don't know. I think it's very soon. We're going to see Grass breaking out of here and sending very quickly because it's going to get very exciting very quickly for certain altcoins. Most altcoins out there will have very strong runs, but again, don't panic. If you don't see altcoins that you're holding rallying strongly straight away, just be patient, okay? As long as you're in for the long game, you're probably going to do much better than most. And I found this really interesting report that I'll share over on Twitter, which is basically a report talking about what's going on in Grass. Okay, I went through this report and I could start to understand a little bit more about what's going on. Global AI training dataset market size, $27 billion by 2032. Coming down through, I found out that the annualized revenue from April for Grass is $51.7 million. All of these other ones here, these are all DeFi products of some kind, okay? Whether it be real world assets, whether it be exchanges, etc. This is an incredibly interesting report to read. I will put this over on my Twitter page. I don't hold any Grass yet, okay, but it's one that I'm looking into. If you're worried about holding too many altcoins and you're not sure, guys, go and narrow it down by finding altcoins that are really doing something, that are demonstrating the data, the information behind what they're actually achieving, okay? This is the real difference. It's like me saying that I want to build a sandwich shop and I have a great idea of how to make the perfect sandwich. And if you come to the shop, there's no one there buying sandwiches. However, I could have another shop where I have someone making that same sandwich. And every day there's queues of people outside the door. Which business would you want to invest in? The one that says they can make a great sandwich or the one that is making great sandwiches? Okay, a lot of the deep in projects are making great sandwiches. Okay, get the picture? Go away, have a look into this. Have a look into the data. You will be able to narrow down your portfolio massively if you're able to do this. This also works for games, not just deep in. It works for everything. If you're looking into games, this is My Lovely Planet, which is a game that I've actually been playing pretty much every day. They have around 25,000 active users right now. It's from the developers who were behind Candy Crush. You can see that they're backed by the companies like Ubisoft, Unity, etc. They planted 370,000 trees, which means that they're able to onboard users very easily because lots of people like the environment, of course, and ultimately it's a playable, enjoyable game. This game very soon will go live on the blockchain where people will be buying into the game. And I know that this project's already generating a real revenue. Once that starts to go through blockchain tokens, etc., it's going to disrupt that supply and demand model. I know that they're about to have some major exchange listings coming up. This is one that I've definitely got my eye on because it's got a tiny market cap right now, but is generating real revenue. Now, of course, I know you're holding coins that I haven't talked about today, like Aut and Render and whatever else. As long as they're bringing in some money and really sort of showing that they're progressing or very close to achieving something massive, then you're onto a winner. But if you're finding a project that talks about doing something that hasn't yet done it, then you have to put it in the speculative pile. And unless that speculative coin is well under 50 to well under a 30 mil market cap, I probably would stay away. Okay, if you're in a speculative project that's got like $1 billion market cap, it's probably worth avoiding. Now, if you're interested in buying Grass or Aether or any projects that I talk about on this channel, or most people talk about anywhere across crypto, then I highly recommend that you sign up for Bitunix or WEEX, both linked down below in the description. They don't require a KYC, no matter where you are in the world. And as well, if you use my link specifically, you'll get one of the biggest bonuses available for the exchange, because I've been working with these exchanges for a very long time. If you've already got an account with those exchanges, you can just use another email address and sign up and use that one. That's the beauty of non-KYC accounts. Guys, I hope you found this useful. Obviously, go away and understand what I've been talking about with these projects. If you want to buy them, do. If you don't, I don't care, okay? But make sure you research them properly and you don't buy them just because I talked about them. If you do that, you will end up losing because you won't have any conviction if the price goes up and down, which of course it can do across crypto. Guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe and have a fantastic Sunday wherever you are. Bye-bye.